pastor of Tremendous Faith Christian Center in Berkeley, California. Let's get to it. Part 3 of spiritual work. In 2 Timothy 2:15, it says, study to show yourself approved unto God, a work person, a worker that need not to be ashamed or put to shame because you don't know your job, rightly dividing the word of truth so that you could help somebody. In the book of Matthew, the 9th chapter, starting with the 35th verse, it says, and Jesus went about all the cities and villages, teaching in their synagogues and preaching the gospel of the kingdom and healing every sickness and every disease among the people. Very interesting. Healing everybody. Obviously, that means God does not want us to be sick if Jesus was healing everybody. 36. But when he saw the multitudes, he was moved with compassion on them because they were fainted and were scattered abroad as sheep having no shepherd. 37. Then said he unto his disciples, the harvest truly is plenteous, but it's the laborers that are few. 38. I pray ye therefore the Lord of the harvest that he will send forth laborers into his harvest. Hopefully you understood that. In Hebrews 12:1 it says, since we're compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside the weights, W-E-I-G-H-T-S, weights and the sins that so easily beset us. If we're going to do spiritual work, we have to lay aside the weights. And what happens is this. We're marred in weights which we think are important, but really they just hold us back. The things that we think that are so important that it takes us away from what we're really supposed to be doing, and we prioritize the weights. And the thing about weights is this: sometimes when we sin, we ask for forgiveness. Usually, we never ask forgiveness for the weights because we don't think there's anything wrong with it. And that's where the deception really comes in. I want you to think about that. Listen. In 1 Corinthians 15:57 and 58, it says, and thanks be to God which causes us to be victorious through Jesus Christ. And in the 58th verse, it says, therefore, be steadfast and unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord. For as much as you know your labor is not in vain in the Lord. In John 21:15, Jesus said to Peter, he said, Peter, do you love me? Peter said, you know I love you. Jesus' response to that was, feed my sheep then. He said a second time, he said, Peter, do you love me? Peter said, yes, I love you. He said, well, feed my sheep. He asked him 3 times. He said, do you love me? Peter got a little agitated. Then he said, you know all things. You know I love you. He said 3 times, well, feed my sheep. Put some work in. You say you love me so much. Where's the work? Feed the sheep. That is the job. Spiritually feed the sheep. In Galatians 6:9, it says, do not grow weary of well-doing, of doing good, of doing God. For in due season, you will reap the benefits of it. You will be paid if you just don't faint or quit or give in. Love you with all my heart. Hope you got something from this. God loves you much, much more. Continue to make God proud of you. Take care.